This Avalanche Safety Report is brought to you by Mountain TV. Watch Mountain TV anywhere with our free Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV apps. Learn more at mtn-tv.com.
We've got our weekly exclusive with the Colorado Avalanche Information Center. Brian, great to see you.
Hey, great to see you, Scott.
Yeah, thanks for hopping in again. We appreciate the updates. It's been a busy past few days, continued storms, continued activity. Can you get us up to speed?
Yeah, I really regret to kind of, break the news for those who haven't heard, but we had a pretty dangerous period there on February 25th and 6th, and we've had 3 avalanche fatalities since February 25th. And what worries me is that this weekend doesn't look all that different. Essentially, what we saw in the run-up to the fatalities from last week was we came out of a really dangerous period. Avalanche conditions were easing. The weather was getting better. It coincided with a weekend. That combination of ingredients often leads to accidents. And unfortunately, last weekend was 3 avalanche fatalities. We certainly don't want a repeat of that this weekend. And I can show you why this weekend looks similar. So here is our animation of snowfall from a pretty potent winter storm that rolled through Tuesday and Wednesday. And you can see that the San Juan Mountains took the brunt of this storm, and that resulted in some avalanche warnings on Wednesday. You can also see some areas of the western Elk Mountains got some pretty good snow. So we've got widespread considerable danger as we move into the last part of this work week and into the weekend. The weather gets better. We're just coming out of a dangerous period. So although we're not flashing warning signs, does not mean avalanche conditions are safe. We want people to enjoy the backcountry and enjoy the good weather, but we really need to make sure people are aware that avalanches like this, and this is one of the avalanches that ended up killing 2 backcountry skiers, do not take place this weekend. So what we're warning about are 2 types of avalanche problems. One is all of the storm snow. So places in the San Juans got, upwards of 2 feet of snow. Snowfall diminished as you moved north, but we still had enough to strong winds to drift that snow into wind slabs, mainly on north through southeast parts of the compass. And so those are going to be your most dangerous aspects. In all but the deepest areas of the state, like around Wolf Creek Pass, the western portions of the Elk Mountains, that fresh wind drifted snow is now getting stacked upon weak layers buried deeper in the snowpack. And you can see here that it overlaps. So it's these northwest, north, northeast, down through southeast aspects at all elevations. Any avalanche in these upper wind drifted layers could break down, resulting in really big, dangerous avalanches that are going to be hard to survive. And where you're breaking on that old, weak snow means you can trigger avalanches from a distance or even from below. So we're going to want to give steep slopes a pretty wide berth as we move around them this weekend. These are the signs of instability that we're warning about. If you see signs of stiff wind drifted snow, like shooting cracks, audible collapsing, recent avalanche activity, these are all signs of dangerous avalanche conditions, and it's begging you to move to lower angle terrain without steeper slopes above. So these are the kinds of signs that we're seeing right now, and they're likely to persist through the whole weekend and into early next week. And here's a really good example of someone triggering a fairly small avalanche in wind drifted snow near Snowmass from just a couple days ago. This person took a ride. It was through rocky terrain. This easily could have been injured. If you're in the wrong terrain feature, like a gully or a terrain trap, you could easily get buried. And with all the snow that came on Tuesday and Wednesday, avalanches just like this are going to be bigger in size, particularly in those places that got more than a foot of storm snow.
And Brian, what strikes me about that video that you just showed is that doesn't look particularly steep necessarily. That looks pretty tame, not a big deal when you venture into it. But as you can see, that just broke right off.
Yeah, and when you get a fresh coating of new snow, all of a sudden steep slopes may not look quite as steep. But you got to remember, most avalanches occur on slopes 30 to 45 degrees. Now, 45 degrees is quite steep, but 30 is not. We're just talking kind of like blue runs at the ski area. It's not something that may scream at you as being really steep, gnarly, extreme terrain, just like this.
Right, exactly.
So, we want, whenever we have a rapid change to the snowpack, like the big loading event that we saw on Tuesday and Wednesday, your safest bet for moving around safely is to just give the snowpack time to adjust. It doesn't like rapid change. It just went through some middle of the week. Things are going to get better. Weather's going to get better, but don't let that lure you into these steep slopes. The snowpack still needs a few days to adjust. So it's a good time to kind of step back, use conservative terrain choices, stick to those sheltered slopes without the wind drifted slabs, and stick to those slopes less than 30 degrees without steeper slopes overhead.
And Brian, it goes without saying, this is the real deal, guys. These avalanches happen. And like you said, we had a pretty good run there, Brian, I felt like. And then 3 fatalities over the past few days. That's just tragic and, in many ways avoidable. So we got to make sure that people are really paying attention, going to your website, checking it out, and just being super, super safe.
Yeah, please do. And the conditions are quite a bit different depending on where you go in the state. We obviously highlighted the San Juan Mountains in this little broadcast because they got so much recent snow, but there are widespread dangerous conditions. So please make sure you get your local avalanche forecast either at colorado.gov/avalanche, or you can check the CAIC mobile app.
Okay, Brian, you got it. Appreciate the update. Fingers crossed that we have a good week ahead here. Everyone be safe out there. Check out the website for more information, and we'll see you back in a few days for another update, Brian.
Hey, great. Thanks. Have a good weekend.
And you can always stay up to date with the latest forecast at colorado.gov/avalanche. Enjoy the backcountry and be sure to stay safe out there.